Good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about the threat that's coming into the livestock and agricultural industry, which is the age of the current farmers and ranchers that are in production, that are in the physical and manual labor of producing crops and producing cattle. As we look at the numbers over the last several decades, the average age of the farmer has continually increased, whereas it shows that the average age of the farmer from 40 to 75 is the most of the people in the workforce currently. As far as the young people from say 18 on up to about 35, 40, very, very low, very, very decreasing, and it shows that not very many younger folks are stepping in to fill the shoes of those older folks who are reaching retirement age, who are no longer physically able to do so. So we look at all these factors and why this is becoming and what it holds for the future. Currently, we're sitting at about 58 for the average age of the farmer and rancher, which is not super old, I guess you could say, but it is at the age where it's going to be very devastating in future years if the younger folks do not start stepping in to take some of these roles. The first place we look at is we look at the family farms that have been in families for generations or maybe just several years. But the parents, grandparents, somewhere along those lines are either getting older, they're going into a nursing home, they're retiring, they're moving into town, they're moving closer to health care. And those farms are either being divided or they're being sold. They're not remaining as a whole, or they're not remaining in full operation. They're not remaining with a full employment or things of that nature. They're part-time, they're a recreational thing. There's all the different factors that come into play there when it comes to the family farms and what they're holding after the owners are passing away or retiring, whatever the reason might be. When you look at my situation, my family has been in the industry for several years. In fact, about the 1860s is whenever our family farm was established. So over that course of time, we've always had full-time. It passed down generation to generation to generation. My grandfather has recently passed away. My dad has always been there helping him for all of his life. And my dad is now in his 60s, and he is just now taking it over full. So then you look at me and my brother, that are the only two left, and my brother has no interest. He lives off in the city, does other things, not ag-related. And I am trying, not full-time, but part-time, stepping in. So you see all these different things that happen over the course of years and generations that are not stepping in at some point, but especially at the full-time point, to make sure that the family farms stay in use. When you look at family farms in this aspect of not being used in full force, by that I mean that farms or ranches, however you want to word those, for instance, the biggest threat right now currently is the amount of farms that are being turned from operational, like examples of having cattle, raising hay, raising crops, raising any kind of livestock, that those are all being sold or they're being leased. And the primary reason for that piece of property, for that family farm or ranch, is for hunting or recreational purposes. That has become the biggest threat to agriculture as far as family farms not being used. Now, for the fact of being leased or things of that nature, that's a different story. They're still being used, but it's not full capacity. It's not full use, because most of the time the leases are not 12-month for a whole year. They're for, maybe 8 months out of the year, so there's time for hunting to come in because hunting leases are substantially higher than those of ag related, like, leasing for cattle, hay, crops, all those sort of things. So the hunters come in, or recreational, all those kind of things fall there. They come in and take over, the ag producer, which runs them out. And so then you look at all the different kind of factors that are affecting the industry, and we see recreational coming in. So as you kind of put all the pieces together of what our current threats are, you look at the current age, and it's increasing for the producer. And you look at the younger generation, and they're not stepping in to fill the shoes of those who are reaching retirement age or selling the farms. They're not taking over family farms. There's no one coming into the industry that are not from ag-related backgrounds. It's all very, very minimal. It's not at the rate that it should be to take over these jobs and these positions and these properties and family farms. The other that you look at is the urbanization that is currently going on. It's the current trend for everyone to move to the cities, to move to little cities or things of that nature. People that live out on farms, it's becoming a rare occasion. It's becoming a rare occasion because of convenience for all the different things, closer to schools, closer to jobs, all those sort of things, whereas living in the country on the farms or ranches has substantially dropped. You can currently drive down most county roads out in the country, and you will find more vacant houses or more houses that have no one living in them. And you look at all these different factors that are causing this, and it boils down to urbanization. People are not taking over these jobs, and it's not necessarily because of the job itself. It's a current trend all over, but I'm talking about the ag industry today, but it's becoming a more and more trend for people to move to the cities all across the board. Now for the ag industry, it's very important that you do have younger folks in to step up to take over the positions of those who are getting older. Because when you look at the farmer and rancher, you look at their day-to-day work, and it's all physical, it's all manual labor for the most part. But it's not sitting behind a desk, and it's not something that can just be learned overnight, in a week, in a month. It takes years, it takes upbringing, it takes interest, and it takes lots of knowledge and learning in order to make sure that you can make it work as a full-time job where you're actually productive. You meet those goals that you need to meet in order to make your production and in order to make a living. Because with the current society that we live in, it's harder for the younger folks to make a living in the ag industry as a physical laborer, as a farmer or a rancher. The reason that it's hard for someone, for instance, my age or at a young age, to get into the industry is because land prices are extremely expensive. And it's hard to get a loan for, $500,000, million on upwards, just for a size of a farm that you need to start out with. And then you factor in equipment, you factor in buying your product, buying your cattle, buying your whatever that may be, your goats, your sheep, your seed, all your crops, your tractor. You factor in all those things, and it's very expensive. And that's why it's important for the younger generations to step in and take over family farms where all that has been established. There's upbringing, there's all those things that you have going in your favor, and there's no one to do it. It's really a devastating and upsetting in a way that it's going in that trend where the younger folks are not stepping in to take over family farms that have been, historically in their family or have been a long legacy. It's just a more common trend for them to move into the city. So as we look at all these different factors that are causing this, it's a threat. Um, but I think as time goes on, it's not going to get any better because there's not any more trends coming back for the younger folks to come back and take over the farms. It's still a current trend for society to move out to the city, to move on, to do office jobs, get a management job, all those sort of things um, in the ag industry. Whereas the physical labor, the farmer and the rancher, their jobs are decreasing, and the average age of the people who started in are continually going up, where there's not enough younger people that are stepping in. So as we look at these things, we're going to be in a lot of trouble here in probably 5-10 years if things do not start changing, whereas younger folks are coming in to step in to fill the positions of those who are reaching retirement age, who are no longer physically able, and those who have passed on and are leaving their farms to family that are not there to bring it up. So with all those things considered, all those things brought up, I hope that this has been informative in the way that it's a current threat to the ag industry, and we are needing a lot of the younger folks to step in and to fulfill the shoes of those who are reaching retirement age, who are getting older in years, that are ready to retire, or not physically able to do it at a full-time rate like they were before. Thank you.